What is up, ladies and gentlemen?
So you think you know.
Oop, got the ad loop
Do
going.
more.
Hate that it switches the position of the buttons. Anyway, after biffing another intro, welcome to another exciting, spectacular, stupendous episode of the Tribune Show. So excited that you all could join me today. We have something pretty special lined up for everybody. So much love. We're going to be taking the Tribune Show in usual in two parts. So the first half's going to be a little bit the same, what we've come to expect. But the second half, that's really where we got something special planned. So anyway, today's episode is titled Reflections. Right? What better way to go if you guys are like familiar with like the chakra systems and energy flow and things like that, then you can kind of follow still somewhat of a theme. We've moved away from the chakras and now kind of gone into some just really profound topics. So anyway, huge shout out to all you guys who are tuning in. We got Jeremy Bird first. Much love in the YouTube. Ruhif, what is up, my friend? Tapered Bodies, MrTribune, of course. Flatman X, we were just kicking it over on the FMX radio. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, super baller show. You are missing out. Very high vibes. Very cool thing to be a part of. So, but they did get a strike on YouTube. All the more reason to go ahead and head on over to Rockfin if you can. And before my show gets banned as well, just so you guys know, one of the things that is now a bannable offense apparently is simply promoting another platform or dropping links to anything for that matter. So when you drop links to like an affiliate store or like to your website or anything, like almost every single YouTuber does, at least the ones that are worth their salt, we will see that that is no longer allowed. YouTube is pushing down on the little guy dropping the hammer. Terrible. If you guys are joining in, please smash that like button. It's a free way to support the show. We do appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. What little help we do get is only possible because of folks like you sharing and liking the show. So go ahead and do that if you will. And then we also got Jess Palmer. What is up? Series of emojis. Probably something to do with smoking some sort of broccoli, it looks like. Who knows what that could mean? Adam, what is up? Nominal. We also have Shifty Eyes, Shady. What is up? MrTribune dropping the shop. Go ahead and check it out. We got some sick merch. If you guys are drinking your tea, coffee, or whatever it is you drink out of anything other than something as stylish as this, then I think you know what to do. Links in the comment, or links in the chat. Mess that up too. Awesome. All right, Melodome, legend in the chat. Lots of legends here tonight. Tapered Bodies, Nick, and I think we'll repeat. Oh, now the Ascending Ancient. All right, let's jump over to Rockfin. We have the silent, awesome ones over here. Just myself dropping the love. Nothing to worry about over there. Let's take a sip. All right. Now, we are ready to go ahead and get this show rocking and rolling. So what we have planned today, excuse me, is a couple headlines. We're going to be going through just a few things. And then as we get into the second half of the show, that is where we're going to be diving into a recent debate that was had. It was requested that this debate be reviewed by my good friend Andrew B., who will be joining us, as there was some things that he specifically wanted to address in that live. So we're going to be going over it today, and we will also be getting something a little bit different. We've all seen debate reviews, but something that I haven't really seen is a debate review with a dynamic flow of differing opinions, like very different opinions. I'm talking putting a Glober on the panel and seeing what they think, right? Should be pretty fun. So yeah, stay tuned for that, but you're going to have to get a Rockfin account if you haven't had one already to be able to see that kind of content. We will be pushing it on over to there when the time comes. So again, do stay tuned for that. Love you guys on YouTube, of course. Nothing against you, but obviously our days on YouTube are numbered. We've been saying it forever now. All the YouTube creators, that have been, hassled have been saying it, and even some of the ones who haven't. It's just obvious. So, there comes a time when a exodus or a migration needs to occur. And it looks like with them dropping the bans on just for dropping links, that time might be sooner rather than later. So, anyway, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our first bit of super juicy content here. Let's see what we have. What order? I didn't really choose the order. Okay. You know what? Let's just dive right on in with some BS, right, from the mainstream scientific community. Let's go ahead and click on. This is an article that I found called "This is not, or time is not an illusion. It is an object with physical size." That's right, guys. If you've heard it here first, we actually have apparently a measurement of the size, whatever the frick that means, of time. And if you're wondering how it is that they did that, whoops, accidentally. Let's go back. All right. If you're wondering how they did that, so am I. I haven't read this article yet. You guys are going to get my live raw reaction in the raw, as they say. But before I do, let's go ahead and drop this link here. Oh, cool. Got some chatters over in the Rockfin now. Eric Gaynor, what is up? YouTube is woke, unfortunately. And Dave S., what is up, my friend? Welcome. All right. Came over from the FMX radio. Super cool. All right. There's a link for you guys if anybody wants to check out that on their own time. Follow along. There it is. All right. And now let's drop it for the YouTube. Perfect. See, even this, like sharing articles, is a bannable offense, right? So at any moment, YouTube, you guys could just have the rug yanked out from under you. Just saying. There is a link in the description, though, so I've made it very, very easy for you. And if you do decide to create a paying account, you will not only be supporting myself, but you will be supporting FMX Radio. For those of you who have came over from there, you've experienced the hassles of YouTube already. Also, we have Jaronism, Karen B., Mark Sargent, the Mellow Dome himself. We also have lots and lots more, but there's only one way to know, and that is to go. So a shout out to Stephanie Campbell. Didn't see you before. Lord Racer, Admiral Dickie Bird. Of course, Andrew B. Tapered body. Time is the same size as Venus, so that's how they figured it out. That's a pretty good guess. Let's see here. All right. Before I do, of course, you guys probably want to see what it is that we're actually doing. So let's go ahead and where? I just literally just had it. All right. You guys get to see the back end for just a minute. Maybe just pay attention to that awesome logo that we've added in. Huge shout out to FMX. If you're looking for some truth or editing work, then he's your boy. So, all right. So, again, we got from aeon.com essays. Time is not an illusion. It is an object with physical size. Let us check it out. Not even sure what I'm sorry. Time is an object, not a backdrop, an illusion, or an emergent phenomena. Time has a physical size that can be measured in laboratories. Interesting. And they got this like frog here. I guess frogs time dilate. I'm not sure the correlation. A timeless universe, hard to imagine, but not because time is technically complex or philosophically elusive concept. It's philosophically elusive, time is. The idea that things are progressing forward. It's ridiculous. Okay. All right, there's more structural reasoning. Imagining timelessness requires time to pass. What the heck are they even talking about? Who wrote this? This is Sean Walker, an astrobiologist and theoretical physicist at Arizona State University, where she is deputy director of the Beyond Center for Fundamental Concepts in Science and a professor in the School of Earth and Space Exploration. Oh my God. So we're not just dealing with some ragtag nobody. This is hilarious. These people have credentials, so they have to believe this. All right. Even when you try to imagine its absence, you sense it moving as your thoughts shift. Your heart pumps blood to your brain, and images, sounds, and smells move around you. Wow. Interesting. Trying to imagine time not being there, but then being forced to deal with the fact that things are happening. No shit. Pardon my language. Not a kid's show. The thing is that time never seems to stop. Oh my god, they're hitting home runs here, guys. You may even feel woven into its ever moving fabric as you experience the universe coming together and apart. How? Whoa. I want to know what kind of things these people are taking to get this effect. I think that I felt the universe coming together and apart one time, but probably shouldn't talk about that on YouTube. Is that how time really works? According to Albert Einstein. Nice. Okay. And that's how we know we're in for a wealth of very powerful and truthful information, right? Our experience of the past, present, and future is nothing more than a stubbornly persistent illusion. And according to Isaac Newton, time is nothing more than a backdrop outside of life. And according to the laws of thermodynamics, time is nothing more than entropy and heat. Okay. Yeah. It's almost like whatever you specialized in, whatever you thought about the most, you can form a whole worldview around that frame of reference. Interesting. But is it truthful? Let's read on. In the history of modern physics, there has never been a widely accepted theory in which a moving directional sense of time is fundamental. Many of our most basic descriptions of nature, from the laws of movement to the properties of molecules and matter, seem to exist in a universe where time doesn't really pass. However, recent research across a variety of fields suggests that the movement of time might be more important than most physicists had once assumed. You mean not existing? Okay, let's try to see if we can move on to the experiment here. Talking about what it was for Newton, we don't care. You guys, like I said, read this on your own time if you want to get the full thing. Block of the universe was cracked before it even arrived in the early 1800s, nearly a century before Einstein, had developed the concept of space-time. Space-time, that was one word. Interesting. Nicholas Leonard Sadi-Carnot and other physicists were already questioning the notion that the time was either a backdrop or an illusion. Okay, so this is them probably just introducing that time is the size of space. Right, it's the size of the whole universe. But has the whole universe been measured? I don't think so. Again, let's read on. It just could mechanically reproduce. Physicists didn't know exactly how they function. Okay, not important either. My God. I'm not trying to read this whole thing at all. Charles Darwin and the Origin of Species. In my opinion, just so you know, and the reason why we're not going to read all through this, besides for time, is that this is a form of form sliding. They're actually adding a whole bunch of useless and seemingly unimportant information to kind of lull the reader into a sense of, of just even more blind acceptance, right? Because we have to kind of walk the reader down a funnel of bullshit to be able to accept this bigger pile of bullshit that is about to be presented. So, pardon my weak language, but that is what I think about it. Okay, so we think Darwin's insight does not go deeply enough. Evolution, okay, don't care. Changes, right? I don't think there's any disagreement here. Time is changing, the observation of changes on top of each other. Forward entropy. There's many ways you can say it, but that is what it is. And the way to prove that is that if you took a picture, right, a snapshot, and you're looking at the amount of time moving in the picture, obviously it's none. There's no time moving in the picture. Time doesn't exist in a still frame. So time is forward inertia. There's no other way to say it. Has nothing to do with the stuff just existing. Doesn't make sense. Obvious because physics and evolution deal with different kinds of objects. Blah, 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 blah. They require memory accumulated over time to be produced. Okay. Again, it's all talking about forward entropy. Where's the measurement? I want the time as an object that can be measured in laboratories. That's what they claimed was. Okay. Incompatibility creates a set of problems. Blah. Let's just skip to the conclusion. I'm gonna go all the way down to the conclusion. I swear to God, if they don't present some kind of like source that I can go back to look in depth, I'm gonna be very upset. Time may be a part of an ever-moving fabric through which we experience things coming together and apart, but the fabric does more than move; it expands. And when time is an object, the future is, God damn it, the size of the universe. I should have known. I should have known. So they don't have a measurement of it, guys. I'm so sorry to lead you down this dog walk of. I'm surprised if you're still awake right now, but hey, we got through it together, you and I, and we are now that much more prepared to completely dissuade the average person from believing this religious nonsense. It is absolutely religious, faith driven, and I'm not into it. I'm not really into it. Very dogmatic, even. You always have to believe the people in the coats, no matter how wrong that they admit they are, right? Like 10 to the 100 millionth power, who knows? Exaggerating, of course, but it's a lot, right? It is a lot. So let's go ahead and check out just a few. I didn't think that was going to take 20 minutes. Like I said, I didn't read the article beforehand, so you get what, I guess you get what you get, right? No prep there. Let's see what you guys are thinking here in the YouTube. Not a whole lot. FMX, yes, the globe is definitely dead. It is true. Or unalived, I guess is the proper word. The globe has been unalived, but I don't think it was unalived recently, right? It's been unalived for years and years and years now. In fact, there's a Flat Earth album, and I can't remember the name of the artist, but it was literally from the 1980s, right? So, and he's writing songs like "It's All Hidden in Writing," right in front of your face in the government's eyes, talking about how you're just completely controlled. And then it literally has a song on the album called "The Flat Earth." Oh, nice. Looks like our Glober is actually ready for the debate review. I guess we can go ahead and get right in it. Andrew said that he was ready as well. So, just to be completely honest, the rest of the headlines are way less important. We were just going to talk about some stuff like animals being sentient and, there being like an actual astral island that people are creating and traveling to, all kinds of things that we can get into. But you probably don't care about any of that. We care about going over this debate that actually happened last week, on Tuesday. Super fun with a known, I'll call him Globe Troll, even though that's not really his forte. He is just a robotics guy with some friends in some satellite launching companies or whatever the heck it was. Didn't really get too much clarification on that. And not only that, but didn't really bring a whole bunch of evidence, in my opinion. But hey, let's not talk too much about it. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm not going to cut it for YouTube just yet. We'll go ahead and give you guys a taste of this dynamic review that we're about to undertake. Something that I have not seen done before, so really excited to do so. I am going to have to launch the Zoom, so just give me a moment. And it's probably going to mess up my camera. So, super funny. What are you going to do, though? Do appreciate you guys tuning in. There is 3 ways. There's actually tons of ways now. I got to stop saying that. Tons of ways that you guys can support the show. There is actually a merch shop that's super cool. Lots of really great designs that you can check out. My camera's probably messed up right now, but I don't have the means to fix it at the very moment. Let's get this link copied and get on over. It did. It shrunk it all the way. That's super funny. Okay. I'm just going to fix this right quick. No worries. If I'm a little slow on the go on doing it, that's because my wrist is still recovering. So it's, I actually think, everybody was saying you would know if you broke it. I think that I did break it, but it was just a fracture. So, because I'm still getting like cracking sensations and like white hot pain when I move it a certain way in a pinpoint spot. So I'm like, Anyway, I'm just gonna deal with it because all the hospital is gonna do is give me some medicine and set it, and it's just for pain anyway. So I think I got that covered. Let's go ahead and get this link for you guys. Okay, YouTube. You guys are both on YouTube, so I don't need to post it anywhere else. Boom. Alrighty. There you are. Let me go ahead and... Nah, I don't need to pin it. You guys got it? What is up, Natch, my friend? We are doing a debate recap with Andrew B. and Ruhif. So, should be awesome.
Hello.
Hello, let me get you on screen. Really slow on the take. Apologies. And we have Andrew B. as well. What is up, my friend?
Hey.
Good evening, gentlemen. I do have to say this real quick. I need to use the restroom real fast before I actually jump in, all right? I apologize.
No worries.
So I'm going to mute.
Alrighty. Ruhif, did you have a chance to actually see the debate that we're going to be covering?
No, I actually went for a 900-kilometer drive to pick up a little baby.
That is absolutely adorable.
Yeah. So I missed the you guys going into a server, and I missed the other stream, whatever it was.
It's all good. Not everybody has the time, but appreciate all you guys out there that do. Feel free to drop a like, share the show. Let's make sure that everybody can get the chance to see this awesome content that's about to come up. Gonna need Andrew to come back and actually pull up the the actual debate, because I'm not gonna be able to while I'm doing a screen share. Unless, of course, Ruha, if you wanted to help out and pull up the debate.
Probably not, because I will only be here for about an hour and a half.
That should be plenty of time.
You reckon? How long was the debate?
Well, we're not going to cover the whole thing, and we're going to speed it up.
Okay.
But I have a... I usually shut this show down by 12 o'clock, so that's about... what time is it? That's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So we should be good to go on that front. Are you familiar with Delcos?
Sorry, the name. Who is it? Person?
It's a YouTuber, and he's a robotics guy. He did a debate with Austin Whitsitt like 6-7 months ago. Don't remember right offhand. But yeah, he came on Tuesday, and I titled it because he said he wanted to discuss free energy and true Earth cosmology. So I was like, okay, cool. I didn't even really know who he was at the time, so I just made a thumbnail, like we're having a conversation, titled it Limitless Potential on True Earth. Really catchy. And then I looked into him, and I was like, oh, he's anti-flat Earth. Awesome, cool. So it's actually a debate. Nice. I probably would have set up a little bit different of a thumbnail, but hey, I don't regret it. The thumbnail's killer. But yeah, it was a fun time. I think he brought up some pretty interesting arguments, and this is a style of show that I want to keep having at least every once in a while. I haven't decided a frequency just yet, but it's something that I haven't really seen done. Having a debate review with people of opposing points of view.
Good idea. I like it.
Yeah, it
By
should
the
be
way,
pretty interesting.
can I just say hello to Effed Up World in the chat? After I left the last debate, and he came on with the ISS background floating around, that was fantastic.
Yeah, he kills me with that.
Yeah.
He absolutely
kills me. I am back.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay, so I do have some timestamps for this particular. I wouldn't even call it a debate. It was just more of a conversation, because it wasn't really a whole lot of back and forth kind of stuff. It was just, here's your point. I don't know. It wasn't really a debate. And I'm not going to say that he is an unintelligent person by any means at all, but I would say that if you're doing a debate or a conversation, it's pretty rude to just consistently laugh through the entire thing. It's just, it doesn't seem appropriate at all.
Yeah, like it's a... Well, I mean, he said it himself. It's not something that he takes seriously at all. He treats it like it's a joke, and everybody's within their right to have their own opinions. But I mean, if you're going to
Right.
step into a serious platform, I mean, at least have a little bit of respect, right?
Yeah, if I was going to conversate with someone that was, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, I'm not going to laugh at them for every single thing that I think that they're getting wrong. It's just, it's disrespectful.
I would think that would be the most immature adult I've ever seen in my life.
Right. So the first, pull up the Telegram, my first
Well, Andrew,
timestamp.
did you hear what I said about the pulling up the actual debate? Because
Oh, me. Sorry.
I realized that
Anyone.
I actually don't have the means to pull up the actual debate.
Oh, shit. Okay, let me do that.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, if you have the timestamps too, it just makes sense.
Right. Okay. So let me go back. I do apologize for this little bit of a delay here.
Yeah, you go tinkle.
Yes. Live. And then it was, here we go, Delcos. Okay. Turn the volume up. Turn that up. Okay, so the first I don't know, 30 minutes of it or so isn't really relevant because the majority of it gets repeated later on. So my first timestamp is at 32 minutes and 55 seconds, roughly. And I will go ahead and share my screen. You have to enable sharing.
Should be good to
Okay,
go.
there we go. Okay, and share. There we go. Okay, so this was with Delcos, who's a robotics engineer, and I'm not saying he's unintelligent at all, but he does make a whole bunch of very weird statements, which I'm going to try and bring up. I could have covered a lot more, but I'm very curious as to what Ruhuf actually has to say about this. So I'm going to fast forward to 32. Wait, what did I say? 32:55. Okay, that's 32:56. And let me know if you can or cannot hear this.
I do mean they're very.
It seems pretty chilly. Just gonna be honest.
Yeah, well, let's be honest though. Like, really, assuming this is real or not, right? This exists. Do you believe this is a real machine, or do you think that it's like CGI computer?
I have no way of knowing, to be honest. I mean, it's potential that it's a real machine, but I mean, you could have that machine be somewhere on Earth. And
That's all I mean. That's all I mean. I don't really care about location. It's just it's a really beautiful thing. It really, I think it really is.
Why couldn't you have a Wally type machine made out of aluminum and copper wires and a whole bunch of other stuff that I probably don't understand? But hey, that's why we pay
What do you mean?
billions of dollars of tax dollars to these to NASA to then go and pay these engineers to then design stuff like this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, it's engineering project, right? Like,
Okay, so the point I was trying to get at with that, which is not really rebuttal, but he's just bringing up the fact that, oh, it's a beautifully engineered piece of machinery. Yeah, there's lots of beautifully engineered pieces of machinery all around Earth. It doesn't mean that the Earth is flat or if it's around Earth or a spherical Earth. So he's just bringing up that there's marvelous engineering that went into this particular project. A lot of people were involved, and it cost a lot of money. And by the way, in this entire conversation, he never made one definitive actual argument or statement in regards to a spherical Earth. Not a single one.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. So this is definitely a project that existed, or it still exists, and people built it, and a lot of money went involved. So I don't know, do you think this thing is actually on Mars?
Yeah, I do, but it's not something that I argue. Like I don't make an argument for it. But yes, I do believe it's there.
Okay. That's mind-boggling to me, but okay. And if anyone has anything else to say about that, I'm not really sure, Trouble and Tribune, if you're inviting more people in or not, or if it's just going to be the three of us.
Well, the link is there, and as long as you're not a douche and we can continue debate reviewing, then yeah, go ahead and hop on in. I don't see any reason why not.
Because I do have, I think, 6 timestamps. And this is about a 2-hour-long conversation. I have, 6 timestamps. Because about the last 20 minutes of it or so is just Trouble and Tribune finishing up the stream.
You
Yeah, I
say
think
he doesn't make any arguments about the shape of the Earth in this, because it's, if it's all about sort of, I don't know, relativity, that sort of shit, then
no, he's just discussing a lot more about robotics and stuff in it, which has no influence whatsoever on the shape of the Earth.
Yep.
it's almost like he's just trying to just build up authority, right, into his side. That way, it's like, oh, there's no reason to even debate, right, because we have all this authority.
Right. So my next timestamp is at
And I will
30
say, I definitely can make something like this in like an AI workshop. Let's not.
Well, NASA fully admits that a lot of the experiments they've been doing with this type of machinery has been done in Devon Island, which is in northern Canada, like in the most weird place you could possibly do a Mars experiment. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's not weird at all, man. Can't you tell that the landscape and environment is identical? It's a 1-to-1 comparison.
I suppose so. Oh shit, I just lost my, okay, so 36 minutes and 17 seconds. Just get there. Okay, so it's not exactly there, but
in for the people to be able to analyze it.
Right.
In my opinion,
But
this
the,
is revelation of the method. It's the same thing like they did with the CERN, where they said that we're going to do a false positive just to make sure that it works and to see what people will do.
True
and then
story.
the next one will be the real thing, right? It's really sus.
This
well, do you
argument
see
right
this
here.
rabbit, right? Just this rabbit. So if I'm trying to measure this rabbit and I'm given, Billy in the corner, completely weird measurements that would say this rabbit is flat, right? Picture a rabbit, not this rabbit. Like when he puts those measurements together back in a model, he's not going to get this rabbit. He's going to get like this squished rabbit.
So you're straw manning that the data is coming from an accurate place, right? So,
Well, but it matches reality because the rabbit is here, right? In the analogy, this would be like a weather pattern, right?
So your
But
rabbit,
in this,
before you move on,
the rabbit is exists.
before you move on, Del, the rabbit in this case would be the globe Earth, right? And the
Yeah,
model,
yeah.
the model that you're saying would represent that would show, it would be weird if it was showing that it was flat, right? That would be the data coming through from the accused, right? So what would happen? What would it actually? See, none of that actually makes logical sense if it was a conspiracy, right? If it was something like that, then what you would see is that they would be giving false data that appears to be real to people who obviously believe in the narrative, to interpret that data, to enforce the belief that it is in fact real, and then they would sharpshooter that fallacy to this so-called rabbit. I'm asking, where do we actually see the rabbit?
all right. So on that point, it's data being input and someone is interpreting that through a piece of software. Now, I'm not a software professional, but I am working on my second degree right now in network engineering. So I'm learning more about programming and stuff like that. And I understand how software is, how it works through like Python and things like that. And this is just a representation of a particular rabbit. And he's saying, how big is it? We have no idea. That could be the size of, a mountain, or it could be the size of an ant. So there's no relevance whatsoever in his argument, as far as I know.
Well, I think the best analogy for what he's trying to say is something like GPS. So GPS doesn't give you the raw latitude and longitude, right? What it gives you is a 3D coordinate.
Right? Please elaborate. I'm sorry. JPS?
Yeah, GPS doesn't actually give you lat longs.
No, what is JPS? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Global Positioning System?
It's accent.
Oh, GPS. Oh,
GPS.
GPS. Okay.
Oh no, GPS. Yeah, sorry.
It's a JPS.
Yeah, so it doesn't give you a raw latitude and longitude. it gives you X, Y, Z raw coordinates, right? So the satellite, allegedly, satellite sends you a signal. You time how long it took to get to you. It tells you where it was, and you sort of trilaterate your position, right? But that position that you get is an X, Y, Z position. Okay, so if you then plot all these X, Y, Z positions on a three-dimensional Cartesian plane or Cartesian space, you will get a globe. I think that is what he's trying to say. He's making an analogy like that.
Well, I'll keep
here's all
playing
this data.
So I don't want to just cherry pick it. So I'll just keep playing it.
Here's all this data. Plot it out. What do we get? I think that's what he's basically trying to say.
I'll keep playing it for like another 30 seconds if you just want to see if it clarifies anything.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? So for this analogy, so this is a rabbit, right? And then I go up to Mr. This is the employees over here, right? And I go, I need this rabbit copied ASAP. I need this a digital rabbit. And so it goes like this, right? And so what we can do is we can look at the model that we have now. We can go, wow, look at this model. This model is pretty damn close because it's literally a copy, right? And so we can look at this and we can go, wow, okay, so this model predicts that this ear will have this triangle right here. Then I can go over here. Wow, look at that. This triangle sure is right there, right? So in reality, this will have a lower resolution than this rabbit, right? For the analogy, in reality, this would have a lower resolution. So it'd be a lot more like, chiseled. But you would still be able to detect key points to say, look at that. This rabbit is definitely not a flat rabbit. It is a very plump rabbit.
So what if we did
so that's kind of that.
All right. So I'm not sure how much more of that you want to see, but the entire video is on YouTube. So
yeah, without context, I'm not sure what his point is. I thought he was trying to make a point about sort of interpreting data.
That's what I thought too.
But he could have. Did he ever get to a point where he was sort of saying, here's the real world data, here's my interpretation of it, or here's how there's no bias or unreasonable interpretation of it?
I don't believe he got to that point. No.
All right, cool.
I could be wrong.
Maybe he was trying to make a point on how if data is copied and like transferred, that it would be like a lower quality, or you would be able to determine maybe that it was fake data. Yeah. I don't know. I'm confused by it as well. Unless you're taking it for the fact of like, again, to the comparison, like, oh, here's the real world data and it matches this model that we have of what we think the data should be. And that would, I mean, I can kind of see how there's almost an argument there. But again, we're dealing with data from the accused, so.
Yeah. Or getting back to the GPS, you can get your own raw data.
From the GPS satellites?
Yeah. Yep. So they tell you where they are. Some people claim that can be spoofed, which it technically can.
All right, then.
If they do spoof it, you can work it out because it's not going to work. Anyway, I've got a stack of GPS chips that I want to play with one day.
We'd have like weird anomalies where like cars and things would like pop into different areas and go off track, and maybe like over big bodies of water you would get misplaced, possibly by a couple, maybe by 20 miles even.
Yeah, depends. If you've got how many satellites are up there now? I think there's about 30 or 40 satellites. Most of the time you can see probably 10 satellites. If you can only see 3 or 4, then you might have a pretty shitty fix.
Okay, I'd love to come back to that later on about the GPS chips, because I'm very interested in that, because I don't know anything about those.
Cool. I'll open one up just for you.
Oh, just for me. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right, my next timestamp is at.
By the way, 40... there's a guy in my chat who thinks China is on the up and up. Super funny.
I'm not really sure what that even means, but okay.
There you go. GPS. Oh, that way. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to elaborate on it and then piss off CCP or GCP, whatever his name is.
Oh no, Ruth, I'm not doubting that you have them. I'm just curious more about how they work and stuff like that. Yeah. So,
okay, I will find out in the next few months.
No problem. All right, the next timestamp. I didn't make any notes to these timestamps, so I do apologize. The next one's 452, which I think is right here, or roughly.
The space that we're seeing. especially when we do have papers and actual scientific studies coming out that show that our whole assumption on how we thought vision worked was actually incorrect. And we're actually seeing in hyperbolic space, not Euclidean.
I have something called a magic leap, and I'm an idiot, and I spent almost $4,000 on it when it released, and they hand delivered it to me from San Francisco, and it is a hologram projector that you wear on your head. Basically, it's like HoloLens but cooler, right? It has games and stuff, but it's really neat. I use it for displays, right? So you can put infinite displays wherever you want. The way that bends the light, right? And what it also does for the controls is it measures like the feedback of a magnet and its position to like the field of it's so cool. Anyway, the point is the lenses, they are so delicate and they have been crafted to reflect it just into your iris. They can unlock by looking at your irises to tell if it's you. Like it's so precise. You cannot say you don't understand vision. It's not possible. It's not a viable position.
No, so what you're doing is you're doing a false equivalency. You're like, okay, because we can project an accurate image, that means we have to understand everything there is about vision entirely. You guys still believe that on a perfectly flat surface, the horizon will not drop away just because, and I will go ahead and throw somebody under the bus, right? The whole claim, that the horizon rises perfectly up to eye level is not something that I've seen. Right, I have.
Okay, so his argument was based on some sort of a virtual headset kind of thing. I haven't looked it up yet, but he's saying that vision doesn't work correctly based on that. I'm a little bit confused by his statement.
Okay. I think this whole discussion about hyperbolic, how our eyes have this hyperbolic feel or whatever, right? I think that is a red herring. That there's no way I can get inside anyone else's eyes and see what they see, right? We can only share what a camera sees, right? So the camera takes a photo, it's an objective thing. I don't need to know how vision works. We know how the camera works. The geometry that we use to model reality works. We don't need a hyperbolic geometry. Just a straight 3D Euclidean works for anything on Earth.
I would agree with most of that. And when I was in, I don't know, like 10th grade, and we had to dissect a cow eye, and then we had to look through, I think, the retina and see, and then like draw what we saw. Like everyone drew something different, so it has no relevance whatsoever.
Yeah, cameras are objective,
right? And we also can't. No one can ever know how a chameleon can see something, or a cow, or or my mom. I have no idea how she sees.
Tell you what your mom saw last night.
I'm sorry, what?
Not dude.
He did it.
Wow, if that was an ad hom or something, that was not really appropriate.
Didn't quite get it all out anyway.
Okay, well,
it's all good.
We're gonna say we can like we sort of can determine what a chameleon would see by dissecting their eyes. Like we would know what their retina does. We'd know what's it called, the aqueous humor, how it refracts light. We would be able to work it out. The point at which we lose what they see is that the point at which it goes to like electrical signals back to the brain. But in the same way that a camera, if we have the lenses, we can track the path of light. We know what refraction does. So we know how cameras work, and they are objective. So, if 3D Cartesian Euclidean describes what we see, then there's no need for anything else.
But what if that's what the whole point of contention was, that it actually doesn't, and that there are papers and scientific literature coming out that says otherwise, that assumption that we've held for so long now has evidence that that is not true.
Yeah,
that we actually
what we have now works. Yeah, who was it? Not Gleam. Well, Gleam does it a bit, but there are a few guys that bring up this. Whitsett as well. Yeah, so they bring up this whole vision is hyperbolic, and my challenge to them, I honestly can't be asked reading these papers, right? So Whitsett, if you understand what you are reading in these papers, can you apply it to any observation that we give you? And to date, he hasn't done it, and no one else has done it. So it does seem like a bit of a red herring kind of topic.
We just don't feel like building out a whole mathematical model, bro. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, don't expect Libus to do it for you.
All right. Well, Whitson is not here, so I can't speak for or against him at all. I'm not going to do that. And also this guy, Delcos, is also not here, but this is just a review of the conversation. That's all I'm trying to do, and see what people think about it. That's all. The next one is at 54 minutes and 15 seconds. I could have made a lot more of these, but I wasn't going to try and make this an entire night stream. So this one, once again, I don't have a note to this, but
I don't know about sheep. Maybe effort wise, but the thing is with the moon landing, right? I mean, personally, like physically myself, I'm not, but I know multiple people that have fired a laser. See, fired at the moon, right? Just in general, it doesn't do much. You can hit just the retroreflector, right? Specifically, just that, and it comes back almost perfect. You can even receive data like that. It's really interesting.
Russia was doing that in the 1940s before we ever sent anybody up to the moon.
But it's not as directional, and I believe that was also radar. It wasn't light. No, it's not a laser.
Okay, and on that point, I've still never heard a single Globie have a single solid argument. I'm sure Ruhef is going to have something to say about it, but if we're going to be shooting a laser with pinpoint accuracy, essentially, at the moon, at a reflector, and then let's just say that there's actually a reflector up there, and then it hits it, the moon is allegedly rotating around 10.2 miles per hour, and the Earth is also rotating and orbiting, and that means the beam would come back in a different place than it was shot from.
Right. Okay.
So how could the sensor actually retrieve that information?
Right. So what used to happen? So with say radar ranging to Venus, right? We don't have retroreflectors on Venus, right? So we fire an enormously powerful radar at Venus. Right, and it hits the surface of Venus and goes off because the surface is like, it's not a retroreflector. The return signal just goes everywhere, right? Some minuscule amount of that comes back to Earth and hits Earth. Okay, the key with the retroreflector is it sends most of it back in approximately the same direction, right? So you're not hitting some dusty, dirty, rocky surface that's just spreading the signal everywhere, right? You can get away with using a less powerful signal because you have the retroreflectors. If you don't have the retroreflectors, like with the Venus bounce, I think the transmitter was 15 kilowatts or something, and the return signal was some number of milliwatts, right? So it got back a millionth of the power, right? With the retroreflectors, you don't need to send as strong a signal because you know that it's not going to hit the surface and just disperse everywhere. If you hit the retroreflectors, it will come back in roughly the same direction.
Okay.
My only question with that would then be, how would we retroactively verify that there was that there is in fact a difference in that that we weren't getting the same type of return back before the quote unquote retroreflectors were up?
Well, I guess it comes down to believing what is written in the scientific papers as to what they did. I mean, I know the Venus one that I use, they do a test and they say, look, I'm going to shoot this at Venus, and then I'm going to aim a little bit away, and they don't get a return when they miss Venus. Right? If you believe that they did that, the end. If you don't believe it, if you think they're making it up, that's your prerogative as well.
Okay, so they're shooting a radio signal at a light in the sky, and it returns a type of output. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you get the signal back, yes.
But then you aim it in a separate angle away from that, and it does nothing, right?
Correct. So if you believe they did that, then that's your evidence.
Okay. I think there's a huge issue with that.
Okay. It's up to you whether you trust these people that do these things.
Oh, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Because nobody's ever been to the moon. It's just stupid to believe that. Anyways,
Effed Up World had a great question. He's like, what angle are the retroreflectors sitting on the moon? Are they laying flat or are they propped up? Ruhif?
They're just sitting on the surface. Retroreflectors have that. You probably need a diagram, but they are basically like an internal cube, the internal corner of a cube, such that no matter what the angle of the light coming in, the geometry of it bounces it back in the same direction. So it doesn't really matter. They're probably just sitting flat on the ground.
now, anyone that's listening, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I've watched many, many hours of these fake NASA moon launches and landings and stuff, and I've never seen a single image of one of these retroreflectors, where it was placed, the angle it was at, and all that.
Now, aren't they like, I don't know, a couple of feet across?
Yeah. The accuracy with that would just have to be insanely accurate.
No. You're still firing a massive spread of something at the moon, but the signal that you get back is much clearer from the retroreflectors, so you don't need as much power. Most of the signal that you send is still going to hit the moon's surface and just scatter everywhere else.
I understand the concept of when you're talking about watts, milliwatts, kilowatts, all that kind of stuff, and how beam divergence works. I get that, but they're still aiming it at a very specific spot. So why wouldn't they just aim it at any one particular spot?
Yeah, if you understand beam divergence, right? It's not going to, when that beam hits the moon, it's not going to be 2 feet wide. It's still, the most of it's still going to hit a huge amount of the moon, hundreds, if not thousands of kilometers. Right, but the stuff that hits the retroreflectors comes back in a much more distinguishable way. Really good word for it.
I don't know if that's the correct word. I think I know what you're trying to say, but
yeah, when you get well, let's say you point away from the moon entirely, you get no return signal. If you point it at the moon, you get some return signal. If some of that hits the retroreflectors, you'll get a blip, a noticeable blip.
You know, somebody in the chat was saying that retroreflectors are the same thing as bicycle reflectors, and maybe just like a greater degree. And my thought is, if you guys believe that the moon is reflecting the light of the sun, and it's like really, really freaking bright in the sky over there, then the moon like basically is a reflector, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I don't know. I just have a hard time seeing that as like proof that we've actually been there. I feel like you could have, even if we are bouncing like a good signal, it just seems like something that we could do previously. I mean, we were doing it. Your argument's essentially that, well, yeah, but now we're getting a better signal now, and I just don't have any evidence of that.
Oh yeah, ask someone that's done the moon bounce, I guess. I haven't.
Fair enough.
neither have I. The next timestamp. This is number 5 out of 6. Minute 1 second, 40 seconds. Okay, so I'm about 3 seconds early. Here we go.
All in space. So of course it would be accurate, but it's not evidence that that model is actually real, right? It's not.
Do you believe in
empirical scientific evidence?
Yeah. Do you believe in electrons?
Electrons, as in
electrons, as in I shouldn't need to.
Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, I'll be completely honest with you. I've not seen like real hardcore evidence of the theoretical framework for atoms, but I haven't seen hardcore evidence for the theoretical framework of anything for that matter. Really,
look at this. Look, you seen this?
Nice. You got a little speck in between 2 needles.
What's up?
A speck in between 2 needles.
Yeah, isn't that cool? You know what that is?
Is that an atom?
It is. Isn't that amazing?
I thought we couldn't see those with the
I believe it's a long exposure, actually.
Okay, and that is complete fucking nonsense. Pardon my language. If we can't see like even human cells with the naked eye, what makes him think we can actually see an electron or an atom? That is just complete hogwash.
So his argument is that you're not actually seeing the atom. You're seeing the after images of the atom as it's like moving around, and then they're taking a what was it, a long exposure or something like that? I don't remember.
Well, yeah,
what it's
like
called.
an excitation of something. Like for example, you cannot see electricity. It's sort of like saying you can see sound, right? You can only see the effect of electricity. Like lightning, for example, is the ionization of air molecules, for example. But still, you can't see it with the naked eye. So he's showing this on a video and saying, "Oh, well, that's an atom." So I don't know. I'm calling bullshit on that one, but I'll keep playing it. Don't worry. And Rufus, please chime in whenever you want.
Yeah, no comment on that one. I haven't looked at it.
I have no clue.
Because that's supposed to be like super duper.
Should I rewind it real quick just to show?
No, it's
I
fine.
will. I will, just real quick.
The microscope. I'll zoom in the atom.
What's up? Seen this?
Oh, he's got a little speck in between two needles.
What's up?
A speck in between two needles.
Yeah, isn't that cool? You know what that is?
Is that an atom?
It is. Isn't that amazing?
I thought we couldn't see those with the. I'll zoom.
I believe it's a long exposure. Actually, is how they did it.
I'll zoom in.
I have no clue.
Because that's supposed to be like super duper microscopic. I thought we had to have a electron microscope to see those.
Whoopsies. Well, like I said, I think it's just a long exposure. I don't know how long, but probably pretty long, actually. I think it's. Have you seen IBM's thing they did a long time ago with the movie?
Okay, well, from this point, the stream's about to end out because of the Google Stream or Hangout thing. So it goes on until the next point, which is about 24 minutes ahead of where this one is at. But for everyone that's listening is not familiar with what an atom is, it is comprised of three parts: a nucleus, which is the protons and neutrons, and then surrounding that is the electrons. And based on the amount of protons, neutrons, and electrons is what determines a certain type of element on the periodic table. And electrons are allegedly, I can't remember the exact value, but massively larger than even the nucleus. But they just orbit around.
No, they're at a much bigger radius. I don't think they're bigger. Don't think they have bigger mass. I don't think.
Oh, I
think
thought
the protons are pretty heavy.
In size, like in radius or diameter. I thought they were much larger.
They orbit at a huge distance.
Yeah, huge distance. As an example, if you're in, let's say California, and you're the nucleus, like in San Francisco, the nearest electron would be like in Hawaii somewhere.
Yeah,
roughly, and that's what they say. And everything else is just empty space filled with quarks and string theory, and just it just gets into
protons are about 1,000 times heavier than electrons, apparently.
Well, I wasn't talking about mass or weight. I was just talking about size.
Yep. Or
Gentlemen,
distance, radius.
I hate to interrupt you guys, but I was just checking the time, and it is about that time to switch it over to the Rockfin only. So, folks, over on the YouTube, if you want to keep following the conversation, who knows where it's going to go? We may even cover another debate if we go ahead and crush through this one and we run out of stuff to cover, because I know that we've done a lot recently that we can talk about. So we do appreciate you tuning in. Let me do a brief little shout out, and then I will go ahead and play you guys out with a song, and you boys can take a little break. Thanks for being here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick little 3 or 4 minute break, and I'll stop sharing, and I'll be back.
Awesome.
All right. Are you about to kill the YouTube, though?
Yeah, about to kill the YouTube, guys. Don't worry. I won't kill it hard. We're going to play you out with some nice music.
Think for yourself. I'll do a little diagram for you, buddy.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Be sure to head on over. There's a link in the description. And I'll also use this opportunity to shut down this, because it's got 1 minute left, to shut down this Zoom and start up a new one so that we can continue this conversation. So I'll send you guys the link over on the Rockfin. Yeah, I'll see you in just a moment. Let's go ahead and just real brief let you guys watch that astronaut. Appreciate you tuning in. And yeah, Rockfin, don't go anywhere. People on YouTube, be sure to head on over. This is going to get fun. right? Thank you all for being here. Either way, if we don't see you, we will catch you tomorrow for the Monday stream, and we do appreciate you. So let's go ahead and play it out.